What's up everybody, it's Dynamic here and welcome back to another MLW video. Now in today's video, obviously it's the MLW All-Star break, so I figured I wanted to talk about something that I've been thinking about for a long time, which is the fact that the Western Wildcats are in MLW Purgatory. They are seemingly at this midpoint where they can't seem to get good enough to be in a point where they're contending for a championship, but also struggle to draft at some points, but I'll really get into it more in this video. But before we get into that, guys, make sure y'all subscribe because we are on the road to 800 subs and we're almost at the road to 1,000 subs, so make sure you guys are early, bro, and also that way y'all won't miss any content from me, and it's free, so might as well subscribe. So if y'all do that, I appreciate you, and without further ado, let's get into the video. Now I want to start with the recent history of the Western Wildcats, and more specifically from 2023 to where we are now, which doesn't seem like that far into the past, but what I mean by purgatory is that this team has been stuck at a midpoint longer than really any team has been stuck at a bad or a good point. If you look at this team's record in 2023, they had a 7-8 record, which is pretty much about as mid as you can be. And then in 2024, they finished with a 5-10 record, which obviously wasn't good enough to get them into the playoffs, and it granted them a high pick, which they used to draft Sean Hornberger at the time. And now, coming into this season, they are 4-5 at the All-Star break, which is about as mid as you can be at this point. In 2023, the Wildcats started out 5-4, but then after the All-Star break, they went 2-4, which drove them to be 7-8 that year. Then the following season in 2024, the Wildcats started 3-6, which is by no means a good record, but they were only able to win 2 more games in the entirety of the year. And I get that these patterns aren't super telling because even in these 2 seasons, the Wildcats weren't the best, so the second half of the season doesn't really matter even if it was slightly worse, right? Well, what if I were to tell you that in 2022, the Wildcats started off 8-1, and then their end of season record was once again 2-4. So the Wildcats historically do not play well at the end of the season. They usually go 2-4, and that has been the pattern for the last 3 years. Now, I've noticed a pattern in MLW fans when talking about the Wildcats, which is they bring up the fact that Kyle kind of ruined the team in the 2023 draft when they decided to trade their pick, which was 3rd overall, to the Magic in return for Liam Jackson and the Mallards pick the following year. In my opinion, at the time, this move made sense. Obviously, RJ Walgate was a really good player, won Rookie of the Year. He's probably a Cy Young candidate for this year, but how could you have really known that from the Wildcats' perspective? And that Mallards pick, which they traded for, ended up being the number 1 overall pick, which they used to go out and get Pat Ballman, a player with tremendous amount of upside, but his play as of recent has been pretty inconsistent and has made fans question whether he is going to be proficient in a Wildcats jersey. Personally, I can't believe that MLW fans and Wildcats fans have such a lack of patience. Yes, we've seen great things from guys like Grant Miller and Jordan Robles, but those weren't natural development paths. I think Pat Ballman will be just fine. I think he's going to be a great player. He's already a one-time All-Star for what he was able to do at the plate this year, and the pitching will come along. As for Jackson Pearson, it seems that his streak has just kind of been unlucky. Now, unlike some other MLW fans right now, I'm not going to slide to hating towards Jackson Pearson right now. A lot of people, for some reason, think that he's overrated, and I don't think he's overrated. I think he's rated just fine. I do believe he's an all-star, and I believe he's pitching super well from the plate this year, but yeah, of course, the 1 year where the Wildcats have enough pitchers on their roster already, Jackson Pearson isn't hitting the best. So yeah, that is one thing that I think they definitely got unlucky with. Then there's Ty Fresnick and also Kyle Schultz, 2 guys who I expected to be hitting way better this season and just haven't been. I wouldn't be too concerned on them, especially Ty Fresnick, but once again, you never really know with MLW. Things could get even worse if these hitters start to lose their confidence. And finally, it's time to address the elephant in the room, which is the 1st overall pick in Sean Hornberger, who a lot of people are out on right now. Now, I made a video earlier this week talking about players who I think are going to make a comeback in the second half of the season, and I did mention Sean Hornberger. It's really up to him. I could see a world where he just kind of continues to play okay and doesn't really have the rookie season he wanted, and I could also see a world where he really changes a lot of opinions and flips some things for him. But I don't know, this roster is just so talented that it doesn't really make any sense why this team is 4-5, even if it really was that one Eagles series that brought them down. And another thing I might mention while I'm on the topic is the Eagles series, because obviously it didn't really look too good. Here's what I will say is I was surprised by the way the Wildcats handled that series, considering right now I do believe that the Wildcats are the second worst team at just falling into that pit of bad momentum right behind the Coastal Cobras, because when they are not playing well, things just fall apart and there is no saving them. The Eagles were not playing well this season, and somehow they just created some momentum that was enough to defeat the Wildcats and defeat them bad. It made them look like they were having a bad season, which before that point they were 4-2 and looking to be one of the best teams in the league. We really haven't seen the Wildcats play in a while, but that's just something I think I need to mention for this video. Now, if you look at the standings and you look at the Wildcats schedule for the rest of the season, it doesn't look good on paper, but then when you view the standings, things seem a little bit better. Now, obviously, they are tied with the Diamondbacks and the Predators at 4-5, so they really just need to beat out one of those teams to make the playoffs. And in my opinion, they are set up perfectly. Now, they don't have an easy schedule. In Slate 4, they are playing the Mallards, who right now have the best record in the league, and then after that, they're playing the Gators, who also have the best record in the league. So, no cakewalk there, but I believe if they can steal 2 games, they're going to be in a good spot as long as they don't get swept twice, and if they can take 2 games from those series, which once again is still going 2-4, which is what they've done the last 3 years, I believe that they're going to be in a good spot. Why do I believe that? Because the Predators and the Diamondbacks face off in the last slate. And I believe that's going to be the series which is going to push one of those 2 teams outside of the playoffs. They really only have to beat out one of those 2 teams, and I think they're in a really good spot to do so. Not to mention, they already have the 2-way tiebreaker against those 2 teams, so really if the season ended today, they would be fine as well. I think right now for the Wildcats, as long as they don't do the bare minimum, they will be fine, and the rest of the season is mostly just about creating positive momentum and a consistent rotation for their team. But yeah, guys, that's all I have for y'all today. Let me know what you guys think about the Wildcats in the comments below. Do you guys think they're going to make the playoffs? Do you guys think they are a championship contention team? What do you guys believe? Thank y'all for making it to this point in the video. Love y'all. Make sure y'all like and subscribe, and peace.